How do we get out of it?
I'm just saying COVID.
Oh my goodness.
We do have a certified rat rescue.
Oh my gosh. What were you saying, Kennedy?
I was going to talk about how Mason saved all the rats.
Oh my
At the
gosh.
mag.
Yeah, so
We don't even need cats.
yeah,
You have pet rats?
no, but we train our team to be lovers of all kinds. So like that's just another piece of being a part of Victory, You're rescuing rats from outside of our container.
It's in the welcome paperwork.
Yeah. Rat rescuer. Shout out to Mason for that.
Company expectations. Wait, so wait a minute.
gosh.
There was a rat outside of the container.
More than one. Babies.
There were babies. There were like 10 of them outside of one of the mags.
Were they rats or were they mice?
They were mice. Kennedy said rats.
They were mice. Rats, mice.
So baby
tomato,
rats,
tomato.
full-grown mice, same thing.
Practically the same thing.
So you gently put them by the tree with the owl, right?
No. It was so funny.
shelter.
Yeah, it was so funny, actually. He made them a new little home because we destroyed their old home because we had some old single shot debris that we
Wasn't no ad.
recycling.
we're recycling, attempting to recycle. We probably have 10,000 single
shot tubes
in a bin out at our magazine storage facility, and I don't
So
know what to
you've
do with them yet.
created a nest,
Yeah,
Correct.
the
for
perfect
them.
nest for.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
part of our corporate initiative for
Great.
a better environment.
We get a tax write-off for this part of the land.
Exactly. That's
It's
right.
wildlife.
Wildlife preservation.
Wildlife habitat.
That's
my
not
gosh.
that's not a bad angle.
Yeah,
Does that give you additional tax write-off?
they might. I haven't explored it
I
yet.
mean, we literally have pictures of Mason holding these little baby mice in his hands.
Yep. It's going to be front and center on our webpage about
Maybe
environment.
that's the picture. Maybe that's the picture we should use on our podcast photo. Is just
Oh,
Mason holding mice.
Yes.
Forget our faces.
Yes.
Nobody
Victory
wants to see
Pyro-
that.
No one wants to see
Victory
that.
Pyrotechnics overcomes tariffs. Fireworks are now a preservation for the animals.
That's right. That's
Right shortly after you received a picture of your employee displacing a bunch of baby rats from the nest that you've built, did you
we took the picture.
Yo, you guys took. Okay, all right. Even better.
Oh man.
Ratatouille.
Was there a company-wide email that went out after this asking about rabies shots?
No, we actually
Did you not see this in Slack?
we
No.
actually sent him
Oh my goodness.
we sent out a company high five award to Mason for doing it.
All right, guys, we got to walk something back this week. I know everybody loved the mice, and the mice are okay, but Mason got bit, and he's no longer with us.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
The funny things about Mason is he's still very new to our team, and he's younger, and so it's just he's the perfect fit to
What does that mean? He's younger.
I helped him sign up for his first bank account.
Got it.
so he works on the 1-4 side a little bit out there and making sure things are clean, but
He has a work permit.
The kid has a great heart. We're just helping him get started, so shout out to Mason.
Shout out to
love.
Mason.
Tough
Good
love.
at carrying
Way
rats.
to go, Mason.
You need thick skin, and we're going to give it to you.
Good
That's
at
right.
recycling.
Whether you like it or not,
He's great at recycling, let me tell you.
get over it.
Is he a big lumberjack of a guy?
I mean,
No.
No.
he's going to listen to
That
this
was a
and
very
quit.
assertive no.
We are going to get his
I was trying to draw a mental picture of the dude that's rescuing the rodents.
Well,
Think like basketball player,
Yeah.
but doesn't play basketball.
he does play basketball, Kennedy.
Oh, so like the new guy? So like the
that would
new
make
guy?
sense. That makes sense, I guess. I guess I've just never seen him play basketball.
Oh
So
my
like the guy
gosh.
plays new
He is going
guy?
to quit tomorrow. He's going to be like, you guys don't even know me.
He's gone. He's
It's
gone.
to be personal.
We might also need to delete this.
Okay, let's start a
Man, we're
start
not going to have
over.
much of a podcast by
Oh
now.
my gosh.
Welcome to the Rhythm Pyro Podcast, where Rosie, AJ, and Jamie ignite your passion for pyro musical show design while testing the very limits of your capacity for stupid.
Welcome to the Rhythm Pied Piper Pyro podcast. I'm Bo. That's AJ.
Hola.
That's Jamie.
Rats.
We're hobbyists, semi-professional pyro show designers, and our podcast is a place where we can get together, talk shop, fireworks, art, share tips, tricks, news, and insights with you.
And cheese.
And cheese. Q. That's your cue, Jamie.
That is my cue. I've got cues.
Yeah.
And
go.
I've got information to say to you about the cues because I'm looking for it. This is just in from the desk of the fine folks of Cobra. Cobra Firing System supports this podcast because they love what the Rhythm Pyro community brings to the industry. The knowledge, the creativity, and the unforgettable experiences we all keep this thing alive together. Thank you, Scott and the team over at Cobra Firing Systems.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Speaking of community, come hang out with us on the Rhythm Discord and start talking about it.
Yeah.
Save and follow the podcast. You can find us on just about any of the major podcasting platforms.
The cool ones.
Don't be a selfish bitch. Don't keep AJ to yourself.
He's my AJ.
What does that even mean?
You know what that means?
If you haven't already, go share us around your social circles. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok as well. Huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. If you want to join Team Rhythm, go check us out, patreon.com/Rhythm Pyro. Be the engine. Be the heartbeat of the podcast.
Be the choo-choo of my chew.
That's right. What keeps the 4th of July celebrations around the United States humming throughout the season? Of course, that'd be display companies. And today we're hanging out with the sexiest, most innovative, and forward-thinking display company around.
The most victorious.
We're hanging out with Cody Hanna, Director of Business Development, and Kennady King, Marketing and Events Coordinator, both from Victory Pyrotechnics out of Wichita, Kansas. Hello, my pretties.
Hello. And
Hello.
It's great to be here. And I don't know if we're going to live up to the expectations of the intro, but I will say Kennedy is now the Director of Operations. So just to make sure.
Ooh. Raise.
Raise.
Don't talk about our website. Honestly, the title that she has on the website has been inaccurate for so long, but I think she liked it. I think she liked it that way.
I just haven't ran out of business cards yet, and so
so she's gonna keep it until then. But yeah, she does. She keeps us all in line around here. So
yeah, small businesses they're kind of the heartbeat of display companies across the United States, right? I don't think there's really any display companies that operate as big corporations, are there?
I wouldn't say there's none, but there are a few out there that definitely have like that big corporation feel to them. But I would beg to say that probably 7 out of 10 are probably not that way. So
yeah. Well, I've known you guys for a number of years now, and having been exposed to the pyro industry for a while, Victory's direction, the mission, the culture, it's one of the more forward thinking. Actually, it's one of the most forward thinking and well executive operations that I've personally been exposed to. And I've always thought of you guys as a breath of fresh air. So I guess let's start with the Victory backstory. Tell me about the company. Tell me how you guys met, and tell me how you decided that a pyro display company is the way to go.
Yeah, for sure. I can start off here. So yeah, I mean, we've been running Victory now since 2019. I started it in a high school entrepreneurship class, actually, and kind of just the idea that I was doing these like backyard shows, and I was doing them all throughout middle school and, freshman, sophomore year before I took this entrepreneurship class. And I was like, man, I could really maybe take this passion that I have for production and live events and specifically pyro and maybe make something out of it. And so I started junior year of high school, which would have been 2016, and just started trying to build something. And coming out of high school and heading to Kansas State to get a college degree, 2019 would have been our first official year of business. And we had one production that entire year, which was actually my hometown of Clearwater, Kansas, which was quite small. We're a town of like less than 2,000. So that's kind of where we really got our start. Before Pyro and before middle school and we started getting into it, I was doing like light shows in my bedroom as an elementary kid. And then it kind of expanded at one point to where my parents finally let me off the hook and get on the roof. And I started putting on these, light shows with Lightorama and doing like the light shows to music and stuff. And that all kind of just like ended up building into, what we do today. And once I got to K-State, we started studying and tried engineering out for a few years, realized like, this is not for me. Switched to the College of Business and eventually met Kennady, and kind of the rest is history. I'll let her kind of maybe share her side of the story once she came into the picture. And what was it, Kennady, like
2019, that summer, right before the 4th of July. So I didn't participate in that very first 4th of July. We met in like an incubator class, and part of the mission of this class is that you had to bring a business idea to this class that you were going to work on throughout the couple of weeks that we were in this class together. And Cody brings an existing business that he is running already. I bring a horrible idea, like the worst that you could possibly think of. And Cody, being so kind, was, I'll help you. I was like, okay, well, is there anything I can help you with?
It was cats, wasn't it?
No, it was rats.
You don't want to know.
All right, you gotta tell us after the show.
It sounded like a good idea at the time.
Keep pulling AJ and talk about it, but not talk about it.
I mean, do I really look like a bar owner to you? Because it was kind of, it was not good. But I started kind of helping him. He was helping me. There was some mutual benefit in that. And through that process, my business was just worthless. So we scrapped that. And I continued to help him work on Victory.
Yeah.
Kind of had different strengths. And so I went and helped on my first show in September at Cody's hometown local fall festival there in Clearwater as well. Need I say, I had never worked a fireworks show in my life. We traveled to professional displays over the 4th of July pretty much my whole life. So I had never actually really shot a fireworks show. We didn't go to the stands and buy a bunch of cakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We had sparklers. So we traveled New Orleans, Michigan, Wamego, different places like that.
Yeah.
And so it was very, very eye-opening. It rained a lot that very first show. And I was like, okay, this wasn't so bad, a little fall festival. And continued to help through 2020, kind of worked on some big projects together, kind of in that downtime. And then I worked my very first 4th of July show that summer. And it was horrible. I was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. It was so hot. It was so much work for 20 minutes. And then you work all day, you shoot the show, and then you have to clean it up. Cody knew I was questioning it too, because he was like, are you good? I was like, I just need a minute to process everything that just went down. I did get over it, obviously. Worked many more shows since then, and now it's kind of fun.
Kennady, was that 2020 in the parking lot multimedia show?
Yes.
Yeah. So this was the year. So first 4th of July, a huge show. We integrated all levels of lighting and audio, and it was just crazy. We had these like 25-foot towers with like 15 movers a piece on them, and kind of just this like fully integrated show. And Kennady, bless her heart, was driving around all day in a golf cart. Little did she know, she didn't apparently know about sunscreen. And so her legs, and if you don't know Kennady, she's fair skinned. Yeah, right. She's a redhead. And she got like, what was it? Like 2nd-degree burns or something on.
Like I had to go to the doctor like twice to get prescription medication. It was so bad.
It was so bad. She still has scars to this day.
To this day, like,
Jeez.
yeah, it scarred my left leg to now if I get out of like a hot tub or a really hot shower, you can see the original sunburn.
Come on, Cody, don't you supply this at the company?
We should call this now. Yes.
Hindsight's 2020.
This scar's Cody 2019.
You have to understand, this was year
2020.
number 2.
I know. I'm going to mess with you, brother.
PSA, wear sunscreen, even if the sun isn't shining. And it was this day, so there was no excuse.
Sorry to derail you there.
No, we survived COVID. We survived 2020, which, a journey.
Yeah. That in and of itself had to have been extremely hard considering where you guys were as a company at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was blessing and a curse because we were still so young into it. We were very agile. We were still in college, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other part of this that I think I cannot overstate enough just how thankful and grateful we are for the time that we were building the business, that time that we spent while we were in college building the business. Like we had a safety net where for those first few years, there was no failure, right? Because our housing was paid for. We had food.
Yeah.
We could be flexible and we could make sacrifices that we probably wouldn't be able to make in the same way today.
We were essentially able to use like all of our tenure at K-State to use as like a massive incubator program. Like while that incubator program we met in was like 3 weeks, like this was like a 5-year experiment. And we just like, that was our launching platform. And it was just like, I don't think without that, like we would be where we are
that's
today.
That's so awesome that programs like that exist.
Just gave us time to grow and learn and figure everything out. Where we didn't have massive amounts of like responsibility and houses and people to feed but ourselves. And so there was just a little bit of safety in that, that allowed us to stumble and figure it all out. Which
So you guys were in college and doing the business at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the entirety of our college career.
And the whole thought process behind it came from, this was really fun to do fireworks at our backyard shows, and like maybe we can make a business out of it.
Yeah. So like I give a lot of credit to we're from Wichita, or we're based in Wichita. I'm from Wichita. Kennady's from St. Joe, Missouri, technically. So shout out St. Joe, Missouri. But here in Wichita, like the Koch family with the K is a huge proponent of entrepreneurship in the community. And they sponsored a fantastic entrepreneurship program that I was able to be a part of. And like just kind of inspired me to like say like, I could do this. And, throughout the program and it didn't just like end at the end of the class. Like this was like an ongoing thing that I participated in throughout college and doing like different events with them to support the next generation of entrepreneurs. And like, they gave me opportunities that I just wouldn't have had, whether that was like dining with millionaires and the type of people that I want to, eventually maybe be like one day, like successful entrepreneurs, to like literally buying our first Cobra firing system. It just is such an incredible program, in the high school level. And then obviously once we got to K-State, that's just like a whole nother level of just learning and growing and networking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was just inspired by Cody's just drive and vision for what he was trying to do. He sold it well and I believed him. And I was like, I think we can really do that and we can do it together and it'll be super cool.
Yeah.
And so I was just, we'll figure it out, all hands on deck.
Well,
there's a lot of creativity and I thought it would be fun.
Yeah. Cody's name was always one that I knew kind of sleuthing around the Facebook groups and stuff, because he, like some of those light shows and some of his really early fireworks shows, I think really before, or probably maybe, I don't know if it was right around the inception of Victory or probably some of his own personal stuff from prior to that. Like Cody, the stuff that you were doing in like some of the high school football fields and things like that with the different lights and just like the way that you integrated your love for live entertainment, on a special effects level with Pyro, to me, I always thought that was stand out. When you see a show, a lot of times you'll see a show and go, oh, if you've seen one show, you've seen them all. But every once in a while, you get inspired to see something or somebody kind of thinking outside the box. And I always enjoyed watching your stuff when I would see it make its way around the Facebook groups. And I think when we finally did connect, when did we meet? It was Sky Wars one year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the year that AJ won, potentially. Was it
20?
21?
21, yeah. 21. Yeah, I mean, it's like, because I
you
think,
guys met, but you guys knew each other before.
Yeah,
then.
we knew each other before. We never actually met.
You mean
in
actually
person,
met? Okay.
Yeah, we never met in person.
Baby.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like,
in real life. Okay.
Yeah, right. And I think a lot of pyros are probably like that to a degree, right? You wind up getting your pyro friends that you meet on the internet, and you interact and talk about stuff. And Cody and I's relationship was like that for a number of years, because you just, when I would see that stuff on the Facebook groups, I'd want to reach out and say, dude, this is really cool.
Right. No, yeah, I think I can recall kind of some of the early conversations, because it was really just kind of one-offs conversations between us about some of the work we were doing. But I will say, going back and watching some of the stuff from our early days of just in the backyard is very humbling. So if you ever need a level of humbling, go back and watch some of your old stuff.
Watch your first shows.
Because it'll be like, wow, I thought I was really doing something, and this was not good.
Well, look at all that smoke.
I thought this show was terrible, but did you see my first show?
But I mean, the idea at the end of the day was there. We knew something I left out about maybe my intro to all of this was obviously the lights and being the light shows for around Christmas time. But another thing that really clicked with me was several trips that my family took to Disney World. And obviously Disney kind of is world class when it comes to entertainment, one, but also their multimedia integration, whether with the pyro and with the special effects and the lighting and the projection. I came away from that and I was like, I want to bring that back to our part of the country. Obviously being here in the middle of the Midwest, you don't see a lot of that. You see a lot more now. But back when I was first getting started and throughout middle school and high school, we would go to these shows. Now, ones that we now have the opportunity to produce, and I would be like, wow, this is really trash. And we would we wanted to bring a next level type of entertainment to our area and to the region. And I feel like that's what we're doing and doing better every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys, you knew you wanted to approach pyro differently. A lot of display companies, I guess, especially startups, they set out to do something fresh, finger quotes, externally. Right. In most cases, that means putting a huge emphasis on the pyro itself, making the fireworks portion of it special and totally new to the spectator. But I think many of those ventures underestimate or completely ignore how important business operations and the overall client facing experience is to success. Right. I feel like you guys with Victory took a fresh look at everything, internal, external, not just the product. Right. Your product is it's next level stuff because you're offering pyro musicals, you're offering traditional shows, but it's the client experience, it's internal operations that I think a lot of people, including myself, I won't speak for anybody else. I'll just speak for me. Seeing how you operate versus other display companies that I've had interactions with, it's totally different. I mean, it's a complete culture shock in the best possible way. I mean, what were some of the challenges that you guys saw in the industry's traditional models that existed that kind of motivated you to change your approach to the pyro business?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want Kennady to touch on this, but really one thing we talk about all the time is typically the display company is a generational business, right? They've been doing business for decades, and they've been doing business the same way for most of those decades. And for us, we kind of came at it as complete outsiders. We had never worked professional shows. We had never produced shows outside of just like what we knew. And so like we had the opportunity to not have any of that outside bias of like what is industry norm, and just be able to build it like the way that we felt was best. But I want to, Kennady, what are your kind of thoughts on that same topic?
Yeah, I was definitely going to go down that same like line of thinking also, right? We didn't work for anyone else before this greatest weakness, greatest strength type situation, right? Yeah. We kind of didn't know what we didn't know. And so we were able to just kind of really evaluate it with fresh eyes. I would also say that we came at it like a business from the very beginning. How can we make this great for all parties involved? So something that we kind of matters a lot to us. It's kind of one of our slogans, I guess, per se, is this idea of passion for people, which includes our staff. It includes our clients, anyone that comes in contact with us, passion for the people who are enjoying our displays, the passion for the people who are paying for them, passion for the event itself. So, all that goes into that to create that experience, and then passion to thrill, which is the really fun part that we get to do all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, like defining obviously that sustainable kind of forward thinking culture, it winds up being a big part of your identity. I mean, how big of a role do you guys think innovation, or just the thought of innovation, helps you establish that culture and kind of pushing Victory outside the traditional mold?
For sure. Kennady, I want you to take the back half of this, because I think like a big piece of what makes us different is the fact that, like, you know, most people treat the show itself as like the show, but in reality, there's a whole show going on before the real show, like, and making sure that the client journey from new lead to in the funnel, right? Like, and us nurturing that lead to gain their trust and build the relationship, because this industry is all built on relationships. The number of times that we were told no because we were too young or inexperienced, like, we were just able to like build this like really great client journey from prospect to client, and then the execution of the show where Kennady and Pete's job really comes into play, where like even on shoot sites leading up to the show, like we found that a lot of times like the communication, there was a huge communication breakdown in between the client and the lead operator. And so we saw that, and we were like, we have to be different, because at the end of the day, like, this is our client. We need to make sure they're taken care of. And so Kennady and Pete do a really good job of handling like the operational side, and then obviously on the sales side, just making sure that, you know, they feel heard and that we're going to take good care of them at the end of the day.
That has to hold so much weight with the client. They're used to a very antiquated kind of experience. It's an experience that more or less really hasn't changed in proposals and how those proposals are put together. And just that it's very relationship driven, but I feel like you guys really kind of brought that into the modern era in the way that you formulated the way that you interact with your clients.
No, for sure. And I think that's kind of the big takeaway from that is we listen to the clients and what they were saying to us, and we listened to what they were saying. We took that back, and how can we fix that for ourselves, for Victory? And same goes for every aspect of what we're doing, right? We regularly, after every show, gather feedback from our clients, our crew. What could have gone better? What can we do to fix this? What problems did you experience today? And then we take those problems back to the office and we brainstorm, and we are no stranger to bringing them the solutions that we've come up with. And what are your solutions to this problem? How can we solve it together? And we've implemented some very cool things because of the feedback that we've gotten from our clients and from our team. They have great ideas. They're doing the work with us, and they're thinking through these things with it too, right? Yep. They care just as much as we do. At the end of the day, they want to provide a great experience as well. And so we're able to have these big powwows of how do we fix this problem, and we solve it. And that's super cool to just see. And we're usually able to tackle it pretty quickly, which again, just kind of, I think is something that the traditional display company lacks, is just speed to execute. And that's just something we take really to heart, that we try to work really hard on, is speeding things up. Even if we're not going to get it 100% perfect the first time, just doing it and trying it and seeing what happens and iterating.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, here in 2025, and I guess the day and age in which we live in, I think the most successful people in the world, they know how to identify the need behind the need. It's not just the immediate need, it's the need behind the need. You know,
need for speed.
The need for speed.
Identifying problems, and the fact that you guys go and seek that feedback is so important for furthering the business and furthering your own personal success. And just, again, cultivating an awesome internal and external culture, period.
Yeah, we want it to be fun for everyone. It's not, if it's not fun anymore, then it's kind of not worth it. And so you're going to have hard moments and potentially hard shows, but at the end of the day, we hope that that it's fun and that everybody's having a good time, because that's why we're doing it, is because we thought the business was fun and a good time. And so if that goes away, that would be really bad.
Yeah, especially with, how close, like I've gotten the opportunity a couple of times to hang out with you and the team, and it's such a close knit feel that Victory has internally. And I guess this is a good segue into the vertical integration that I want to talk about with you guys, and really kind of dive into the benefits and even, I guess, some of the hardships that you guys largely, from an operations standpoint, you're self-reliant, from design all the way through to the execution of shows. And I guess just to expand a little bit more so everyone knows what the fuck I'm talking about. The standard for display companies today is very much heavily and totally reliant on subcontracting different roles throughout the process of putting on displays. Show designers, drivers, lead shooters, operators, technicians. So many of these are independent contractors, and Victory's brought so many of these roles under the Victory flag. So, could you guys, can you highlight in your experiences, how keeping all of that in-house leads to higher quality employees and client experiences?
For sure. Yeah. It's a big piece of, like, kind of going back to the conversation about taking client feedback. So many times, especially early on, like, you get feedback from the client that the lead operator was, unprofessional, unprepared, like, didn't know how to do his job. And, like, to me, that's like, for a lack of a better word, disgusting.
Yeah, right. That's
right?
key. Yeah, exactly.
And it's not the operator's fault. I think is kind of some of the things that I take away from that is it's not always the operator. It's how well were they prepared to do that job? And oftentimes it's that they weren't prepared
at
and
all.
That's the part that's really hard.
And that's that's the thing is, like, our industry, and I'll speak specifically for our region, but our industry just so often, like, it's all about just pumping numbers, right? Like getting an operator license to be able to shoot another show. And they take the 8-hour course, which doesn't teach you anything. And then they put you out in the field.
It's kind of the same in this territory here, largely subcontracted and very much so like, hey, I see you have your license. We're going to pluck you up and put you in a continuing ed course in which you're really just getting the standard stuff, right? You're getting NFPA read to you. That's what that's what everybody passes a test on typically in all of these states. So
that has nothing to do with how a successful shoot site is ran. And I'm sure AJ, the shoot site Caesar, can agree. Like that, in my
head, I was like, I'm waiting for someone to say it, and I was really thinking, I'm like, this is going to be Bo. Or Jamie. I can't believe it came from you.
That's right.
Virtual high five right now.
You busted so many bingo cards.
Yep. So no, it just, in all reality, it's so backwards. And we realized that early on, like we were doing the same thing. We were contracting lead operators to go out and shoot shows on our behalf. And we were like, this is crazy. Like, how are we supposed to control the quality of our product? And the answer at the end of the day was like, we have to bring this in house. Like, this has to be a team that's trained and qualified and certified by us. Like, we have a way that we do business that's different than any other company out there. I mean, just point blank. It's just how it is. And so, like, we have to be able to control the quality. And like Kennady has done a lot on that front and just like helping us get to that point, because it's not easy and it's very against the grain, especially for the industry as a whole. And it's just, but at the end of the day, we just knew this is what we had to do, mostly on the fact of like, we have to control the quality because that is most important.
Duty.
That's right.
Yeah.
Except the Victory team is trained not to bitch about Medusa duty.
Anybody complains to me, I have this wonderful picture I send them of me pointing to a sign that says, "Have you volunteered yet?" And then that's what they get from me.
Does everyone know how to use
piece of that? Is
does everyone know how to use a ratchet strap on your crew? That's all I need to know.
That is a work in progress, and that is a direct shout
on my
out
crews. What do you know?
What you said with just controlling the quality of the product. How often do you guys get feedback from the client and the client's just like completely blown away with how in sync and how smoothly the operation runs because you guys made the decision to vertically integrate?
Yeah. So we have an award that we give out annually to our team. It's called the Customer Obsessed Award. So it goes to a person that goes in above and beyond for our clients, because we do hear from our clients. That name drop their leads of just, wow, this person went above and beyond for me. And they say it about everybody. So it's always really hard to pick, who gets that award at the end of the year. But it is really cool. Yeah.
This guy wouldn't stop.
So it is just really cool to see that interaction, but also I think something that's really important to note here is that our operators move around. So we have a rule that you don't work the same show 3 years in a row, period.
Oh, that's cool.
End of story. Doesn't happen. And so you get the opportunity to go shoot new shows, new clients, different crews, different people on your crew, just all of these different things.
Different duties.
That's really cool. I mean, that's
experience every time.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Like, was that scary at first when you guys took a run at that? And said, hey, we want to implement this. We want to, this operator is so used to working with this client and this sponsor. Because once you remove that, because I guess this kind of goes back to the linchpin of this entire discussion is that historical subcontracting model. So much of the time, the display company is somewhat involved with the client, but the lead shooter that winds up getting subcontracted by the display company to shoot the display, they wind up becoming the face of the company. And if they're not really trained up on the way the company works, the company standards, the client is destined to have a different experience every single time. So, I mean, was there a degree of apprehension when you're like, oh man, should we?
We prevented exactly what you just said, those problems. We wanted to prevent that at all costs. So for us, it was it wasn't, I guess we didn't really second guess it. It was, this is the way it has to be.
Yeah.
We were very decisive in that we didn't want the operator to have to own the relationship.
Yeah.
And it kind of benefits them. I don't know very many people that want to work the same exact show over and over and over.
40 years.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it gives each one of those guys a taste of something different.
Yeah.
So that, because if you keep doing the same show over and over again, is a good word like Jamie uses, you get complacent.
Yeah.
So when you go to somewhere, if you go somewhere new, you're like,
so stagnant.
wait a minute, this is all new. This is a new show. This is a new site. What do I do? Like, I'm so used to this other one. What do you mean that's different here? It gives somebody out there an advantage to learn, to constantly keep learning.
Complacency is dangerous.
It keeps our leads.
Business.
It keeps our leads so sharp and on their toes. Like, they're all like, I would say without a shadow of a doubt, like
you can think on.
We could remix our lineup for this year and move every single lead to a different 4th of July show and a different 3rd of July show and a different 5th of July show, and we would be successful because like that's the culture that we're breeding. Is just the fact that like we want you to like
thinking on your feet.
We don't want you to be stagnant. We want to help you grow into a role and to a larger role with Victory and within the industry. And so it's just like, such a cool thing. And I would think that if you ask any of our leads, like they would say like that's something they really appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's smart and anything in life. I mean, your personal life, being able to think on your feet and being quick-witted about anything. Right. I may have the one-liners that Bo loves every once in a while, but just being able to roll with the punches of life and in a career and a business, your next day and next hour is not determined. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen. If you can roll with that and overcome, you become successful. Yeah. But even more so in your industry, you're not only making that person successful, but you're also making what they do. Pyrotechnics, a very dangerous, potentially situation to be always looking and adjusting and adapting to your existing circumstance. Right. Just make the whole industry much safer, and everybody's just going to benefit from that. It's an awesome strategy.
You're just so much more aware, right? You're so much more aware of the things that like maybe that if
you're not complacent,
like maybe the things that like you were so used to at this shoot site for 3 years, like, that's all is going to change the next time you move. And so like, it keeps you on your toes, like you said, and ultimately like it reduces that complacency, which is obviously like a big risk that we're trying to mitigate.
Always learning.
Right. Totally, baby. Yeah. It tests your mettle.
Yep. No, and that's what I say to every new employee that we hire. Because again,
how are you with uncomfort?
I start off with, you are entering the company as the most recently trained person. You have received our training most recently, and you now have the responsibility of, if you see something that was not matched what you have just been trained to do, you call it out for your safety and for the safety of the safety of everyone around you.
It doesn't matter what your position or rank on a shoot site is. Like, if you see somebody doing something wrong, like, I don't care if it's the lead op or the senior tech on site, like, you call it out, like, and they do, and it's just a beautiful thing.
AJ.
Yeah, one click, not two.
Dude, I was joking with AJ when I came out and hung out with you guys at K-State, because it really does run like a well-oiled machine. I'm up there setting up single shot racks, right? And I know that you have a very, very particular way that you like things done, and it was absolutely hysterical on a number of occasions, because especially when I was around Pete and I was doing stuff within eyesight of Pete, because like I would do something and then I would just hear,
please tell me it was recorded. I want to see Bo get visually yelled at.
I'm looking down at the stuff that I'm doing.
That is the greatest thing ever.
The orientation in which I'm doing quick plugs and how I'm doing this. I'm like, okay, hold on a second. Let me rethink the way that I've approached this. And then it's cool to get insight on how everyone likes stuff done and why they like stuff done a certain way. But I joked with AJ. I called AJ shortly after. I said, man, you like, this would be heaven for you. I think it's be absolute heaven for you. You walk around with like just like a stick and point at things.
What does that mean?
Walk around with a stick and point at things. You go, oh, well.
Yeah, no,
Take a look at what you just did here.
We try really hard. We try really hard to have like those standard operating procedures because it's what makes the ship run smoothly, right?
Yeah,
from start to finish.
It's good habits too. You're formulating good habits right out of the gate, and because you guys have taken an approach with new personnel, right? And because I mean, what's the mix of experienced pyros that you get to come on board versus brand new greenies, I guess, for the lack of a better term, that come on board and you're...
Kennedy probably knows this better, but off the top of my head, I think out of the 30 on our team currently, 2 came from another pyro company.
Yeah.
That have shot pyro with someone else before us.
Yeah.
Which it's great to have that mix. I will be honest. We've learned so much from the 2 people that we have on our team.
Shout out Jared Brummer and Jeff Blackman.
Yup.
Yeah. They have taught us so much just about how other people do it so that we can see that and experience that. And they do bring such a wealth of knowledge that, again, we didn't know what we didn't know. Yep. But yeah, most of our team, most of them are, when they first started with us, had never done this before. Yeah. Much like us, right? And we just kind of all learn together and continue to grow that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And Jared just came with just such a fresh breath air too. He's kind of like our first person when we have a question, we go to Jared, especially early on. Like, and he just was
everyone goes to Jared.
Yeah, everyone goes to Jared, and he just was. For me, he was just such a breath of fresh air in the industry and just like pyros in general, because I think we all know how pyros in general can be very judgy and very like standoffish. And Jared kind of took a very different approach to the whole thing, where it's like, I see that you're trying to do the right thing, but let me help you. And like he kind of just like took us under his wing, and like I didn't always agree with what he was saying, and he didn't always agree with what I was saying. But at the end of the day, we had really good conversations and like forged a really good relationship between Kennedy, myself, and Jared. That like to this day, like he is like our guy for anything that we're like questioning or want some clarification on, because he was so willing to help when we didn't know, right? And we were trying to figure it out.
So he was your shoot site Caesar for a little while.
He was the guy. But the beauty of it though, like, and because I've worked on sites with the type of pyros that like everybody dreads, AJ. Just kidding. That was a joke.
No, but really.
No. I'm sure what like it probably could be worse. And like just being able to come at it from just such a different direction of like, I want to help you, and I want to help you both, and I want to help us all be successful.
Yeah. That objective is everyone expanding their knowledge base, approaching every single instance like there's something that you can take away from it. That's a big deal. And I think a lot of pyros get, I guess, complacent in the thought of, oh, well, I've been experienced to this for so long that there's nothing that anyone could possibly teach me.
Without a shadow of a doubt, like my way's the highway, like, and they're just not willing to have a conversation about it. And I think that's just in general is like the problem with the industry is just we always say that obviously like we're innovative and we're forward thinking, but we're in an industry that hasn't really innovated in decades. So I mean, Kennedy and I talk about it all the time. Like that's what we're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure that like the team has to feel valuable from that perspective too. I guess I would almost make that statement from a perspective, especially if they've had experiences with other display companies or they've shot with other display companies or other groups, right? Because once you have that point of relativity to compare the experience to, you know, when you look at Victory and you're like, oh my God, look at all of the training I get here. Look at all of the standardization and process. I mean, things are just so well thought out that as a technician or as a lead under the Victory flag, I would think that it would be very hard not to feel just an immense value and appreciation for the company.
Yeah, I mean, that's our way of showing appreciation for them in a way is what can we do to provide the best working experience for our employees? So that starts with they're all W-2. We insure them. You don't have to carry your own insurance because if you're an independent contractor and you get hurt or somebody that you've potentially hired or brought out there gets hurt, like you could potentially be in a deep situation that is going to cost a lot of money to get out of because you potentially are liable for that. That's not okay. And so everyone's W-2. We provide the training, of course, which we've talked about, and that is online training, on the job training. We pay for our employees to go to events and do fun things to experience pyro in different ways, to experience other people in the industry. And we provide them with all the tools. No one on our team should ever show up to a shoot site with their own drill. They shouldn't have to. They should never have to do that.
I don't use anything but Milwaukee.
Bauer?
We're a big Milwaukee supporter.
Amen, brother. Apple Milwaukee all the way.
He's like a union pyro company without being union.
I got a Milwaukee case for
we
my
have a small
MacBook.
fortune in Milwaukee.
I am impressed with your Milwaukee inventory. It is impressive, bro.
It's just like, it's one thing. And I think kind of Kennedy touched on it is like, obviously we talked about like, we want to provide a 5-star experience for our clients, but who are our other stakeholders in this product? And it is our team, right? And
Milwaukee.
so like we in Milwaukee, but more importantly than Milwaukee is our team and like providing them a 5-star experience, because if they go on a shoot site and, you know, they show up and they're the 1099 contractor and the company promised them crew and then the crew didn't show up and now they're setting up the show by themselves. Like that's a problem, like from a multiple levels.
Safety risk. Yeah. So many levels. It's so bad. From not only do you probably not want to be the only one shooting up or shooting the show, but it's not safe to do that. And so you're putting yourself at risk for something to go wrong. And then you're the only person there to fix it or watch anything going wrong, and so that's a problem. God, and we do. And
I
some of this stuff is so easy. Like we provide ice and Gatorade and water. I mean, it's so simple. It's just that simple, and it's our way of appreciating our crew for the work that they do for us. Because quite literally, we could not do it without them. And there's just all of those little things do add up to be a very big thing in the end, and it impacts the quality of the people that we hire, which then impacts the quality of the shows that we provide.
Yeah, it's the client experience and it's the crew experience, right? Like we're providing an experience to our crew too, and like
you're providing a culture.
Yeah. Yep.
A good, healthy, fun culture.
Yeah. Amen. Like that's awesome. That's our goal, and so like by providing ice and Gatorade and by providing all the tools and by providing them and scheduling.
They're humanitarians.
Yeah. Like, yeah, we're humanitarians.
Milwaukee coolers full of like Gatorade and water.
Exactly. So like we just want to provide the best experience for our team, and ultimately that
family.
That trickles into providing the best experience for our client. And so by providing the tools and providing the crew and scheduling the crew for them, you know, like our leads just trust us. Like they don't need to know who we're scheduling, because at the end of the day, like the training and the certification is a Victory standard, right? Like we're training our crew. So no matter who's on your site, you're going to get the same level of experience. And it's just what we do to make the crew experience that much better.
Well, coming from an employees too, like the more you respect them, the more they're going to respect you. The nicer you are to them, and the more you keep them happy and going. the harder they're going to work for you because they know they're being appreciated at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I was raised, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's right.
And it sounds like you're
Jamie.
living it.
That's right. We are, and we really do. I mean, love what we do. And I think it shows in everything that, in every, thing that we do at the end of the day. So, it's just good.
We joke around that we have like a mini club in our organization.
Yeah.
Because we're all so, at the end of the day, friends, family, I think is what you threw out, Jamie. That's true. I mean, we do things outside of fireworks too. If that's going to a minor league baseball game for a sweet night, just to hang out with each other outside of fireworks, because there's a lot to enjoy about each other's as people.
Yeah. We host a banger of a Christmas party.
Literally so awesome.
With
Wait
boozy
till you hear
drinks.
what we have in store
We
for
shall be there.
2026.
We could record a live podcast at it next year.
Yeah, buddy.
Is that safe?
Boozy
We
Music
will.
LLC will take any tax write-off
not
that it
live.
can get.
Could we have
Edited.
30 mics?
Oh,
Are you supplying them?
No. We just need one mic in the center of the room.
We had 2 mics this year and it was out of control. So
God, I die of an aneurysm.
Oh, God. It's epic.
I read that in your guide, actually.
Did you? Do you like the guide?
If we don't let the audio upload all the way.
Oh, I'm sure.
Actually, believe it or not,
There's a guide on aneurysms.
no. Bo wrote a guide on aneurysms on how not to give him one after the podcast is
We
over.
call those boneurisms.
Here's a 40 bullet pointed list in 6-point font on how to make Bo's life easier.
Tap on
That's
your
exactly
mic.
what it was.
Yeah.
Tap, tap, tap.
Obviously you guys, you've got career development opportunities within the company. You're totally friendly with newcomers. And honestly, I would praise you guys for newcomers, because when you get into the club scene, sure, you learn a lot. Depending on the club that you get into, it's wildly different. The standards and the habits that you learn and how you're taught to do things.
Good and bad.
It's a little different with a company, right? You're a little more vested, but you're also super hyper focused. So you don't leave a lot to the imagination when it comes to raising new technicians. So, I mean, what other benefits do you guys have internally that would, be really enticing for folks looking to get into pyro that want to come work for a company?
Yeah, Kennedy, do you want to? I mean, that's your world, so I'm just living in it here. So why don't you take that?
So I think like general advice, it would be my recommendation that if you're 1099, beg not to be, don't do it.
Yeah.
There's so many things that can go wrong in that situation. And it's just, unless you are truly operating like your own business and you have the insurance to do that, sure, then go for it. But if you don't, best advice to you is please, please, please don't. It's a disaster waiting to happen for you. And just don't get yourself situated in that. And then find people that you enjoy doing it with. Because at the end of the day, these are long days, 8 to 14 hour set up the show, and then plus a couple hours of teardown. These are very long days. They're generally hot. You're going to want to like the people that you're doing it with.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really, really important, is to find that community somewhere, whether that be with us or, with your club or with another company. For sure, like the people that you're doing it with, and find people that are willing to invest in you. I think that's really important, because something that we ran into when we were young is there are people who didn't want to help us, right? They saw us as a threat and that we were going to steal everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really difficult to find people who liked Pyro enough, loved Pyro enough to invest in us as people. And so find people willing to do that for you is also really important, because at the end of the day, like, sure, yeah, you want to find people who will sign off on your license, but also that will help you get better and hold you accountable to getting better. And that's something that works both ways at Victory. We hold our team accountable, but they hold us accountable too. And that's important to have that two-way exchange.
Yeah. And
Is
I would
there an
say
anonymous
too,
box at the office? You can drop notes
Anonymous
into?
tip box.
no, they gotta put their
No,
name
we
on
throw
it.
all that out there.
We want a vending machine.
It sounds like you guys are.
I saw Pete grab the module by the quick plug cables and just give it a rip.
Yeah,
It sounds like you guys are
that will
huge.
get you in
Signed
trouble
anonymous.
for sure.
that will get you a ripping in the Slack channel for sure.
Have you seen the warehouse channel?
Those
No,
guys.
but I've seen the warehouse. The warehouse is immaculate.
I wouldn't say
Except
that
for
right
Milwaukee
now.
that.
cases. Everything's organized in its own Milwaukee case.
That's right. That's right.
Sounds like you guys are huge advocates of supporting everyone that comes into your team and not trying to hold them back because, they might outshine you and make you
Right.
look better than you. You. That's what you want. I help them become who they
Yeah.
are. They're better than I am. It's great. It looks great for me, but you're not scared for somebody to outshine you
No.
because they excelled beyond that. So that's huge because you're not holding that person back and they can thrive in that environment. That's awesome.
Yeah, like exactly right, Jamie. Like we want to invest in people and like be invested the same way like we were seeking when we were really just trying to get started. Like Kennady and I are both am I 25 and you're 26, Kennady, or is that something like
That's
that?
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Young pups, young puppies.
We're getting to that part of the episode.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So we're super young and like early on we were just seeking people to really just like help us, right? And
Yeah.
it wasn't an easy road to find that. Like a lot of people, like Kennady said, just were unwilling, and like that was just the reality that we were faced with. And we really do just want to provide like anybody that's interested in producing pyro shows and working on different production related events. Like we want to provide them the experience to grow into this industry, because at the end of the day, like we can't do it alone. We know that. Like come to our operation around the 4th of July, and if Kennady and I were the only ones in the room, we would be royally, insert the word that you know what I'm talking about.
AJ.
Royally AJ. But yeah, I mean, we just really want to. We really just want to invest in our team, and I think Kennady, I don't know if we've done this recently, but the average age of our team too is, I think, like 28 or 29. So like
They're all older than you.
Yeah, like we're they're all older than me.
Something like that.
It's not much older though.
A little bit of a mix. And so like we
Respect
just
your elders.
right, exactly. So we just like,
always keep your crew at that same age though, because as they get older, they get
Yeah.
slower and it hurts
Yep.
more.
You're right.
Yeah, and then you can fire them because they're too slow.
Yeah, they're not making.
Already feeling
They're
it.
not meeting operational efficiencies.
Who said that? Who's already
That is
feeling it?
part of the
Cody?
scheduling process.
Me, I'm already feeling it.
You don't
You
even know.
go out to the
scares me.
warehouse with a stopwatch, and you hit the stopwatch while these guys are putting shit away.
Exactly.
And time.
If
And
you
then
can't do
shake
this
your
in
head.
10 seconds, you might have to go, Pete.
You're going to be on Milwaukee duty.
Hey, Kennedy, I have a question for you. If you can answer this, what were you
Yeah.
talking about with the 1099 and W-2 thing? Can you explain that a little more? Like,
Yes. So distinction is like nothing about it. So 1099
Liability,
is what
right?
Yeah,
it's
but that's
independent
what I mean. What
contractors.
about the liability thing?
Yeah. So if you're a 1099 independent contractor, you're being contracted to do a job. The company's insurance is most likely still going to cover any like property damage, like general liability problems. But if you're an independent contractor and you've potentially asked people to work for you at this point, right? Because you've recruited people to come help set up your show that you're the operator on.
You're liable for that.
And
Okay,
you're
that's-
potentially the person paying them out of your commission, then you've potentially just become liable.
Yeah, you've opened yourself
For-
up to risk.
Anything they do and you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so as long
Mhm.
as, say, the person that's getting 1099, if the people in his crew are also like certified employee, like possessor license through you guys, then that's totally different because they're covered through your company then, correct?
So we don't have any 1099 contractors generally, I would say, on our shoot sites everyone that we have on a shoot site is a W-2 employee.
I think that liability, if the display company has the liability insurance and they're paying the subcontractor, right, who has an LLC, right, they're their own entity, they would have to carry their own insurance and then extend that insurance to anyone that's under them.
Right. They would have to have some sort of
Correct.
like workers'
In theory,
comp.
yes.
In theory. And like this has been a big conversation at several of the APA conventions, is because the U.S. Department of Labor is cracking down on it. And, for our industry, like historically, it's always been this way. And the Department of Labor is like, I'm not for sure this is the right way. And so like, we just realized like we're opening ourselves up to so much additional liability. Like if somebody does get hurt, like who's going to pick up that? And the answer now is like our workers' comp policy is going to cover it. Like it's going to cover our team, and they're going to know that if they need medical, any sort of medical attention, like they're going to be able to get that.
Otherwise, two different 1099s would be like, well, their insurance needs to cover it. No, their insurance needs, it's a battle.
Yeah,
right.
That
And
makes
then you're
ugly.
just in court forever.
Yeah. Nobody gets paid.
Yeah. And then being a W-2 employee, it costs the company more, right? It costs Victory more to hire people as W-2. We have to pay a portion of their tax liabilities. We carry the workers' comp insurance on them. We pay for all their training. We pay for all their tools. We give them a little uniform and say, please wear this. And 1099 is kind of a cop out on all of those things, right?
Yeah,
they don't.
Right.
No,
it's
uniform,
it's a way to increase the bottom line.
Talking about controlling
at the contractor's expense in all aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about controlling quality, like it just is a no-brainer for us. And I think it's paid its dividends in huge numbers, just because like our clients realize that. Like they realize that like our crews that show up are some of the most professional ones they've typically interacted with.
And it's for the employees too. As an employee, it's much safer to be like, I'm safe. If anything happens, I'm not accountable. Obviously, I'm accountable for myself with my company, but if something happens, I can't afford to pay.
Right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
The company's got me. They stand behind me.
Yep.
It's awesome.
It's a slippery slope.
You just don't know when that's going to happen either, right?
An accident
don't know
is an accident. You can't plan for an accident. You can prevent accidents.
Yeah.
But you can't plan for it all on Tuesday.
And you could be the most prepared person in the world, have the most training in the world, and accidents still happen.
Yep. 2 clicks.
That isn't an accident.
2 clicks.
That's not an accident.
2 clicks
Someone
is negligence.
physically has to do that. That's like saying, I didn't put the battery to the igniter, but you did.
But
You said don't, but you did.
Yeah, it's like Nate's shotgun. It doesn't go off
But
by
I thought
itself.
1 click and 1 click was 2 clicks. You kept on saying 1 click, so I thought it was 1 more.
Yeah,
I didn't hear you say not 2. I thought you said 1 click, 2 click.
I think that like this portion of this particular episode is going to be like that's great content. It's an extremely sobering thought for so many that are going to listen to this episode, because it like whether you're in the club scene, whether you are a subcontracted lead shooter, because I'm not even sure how many of the subcontracted lead shooters, I'm sure there are plenty of them out there that don't even carry some form of their own insurance.
I would say
even
the
backyard,
majority of them don't, because they don't know.
Right.
And we're still talking on such a low level of this too. We haven't gotten into like the DOT stuff. Like, who's liable for that? If there's an accident there, who's transporting that? Is that being transported legally? And you just don't want to get in that kind of mess. You really, really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys are prime examples. You went from the backyard to a business, and you said you didn't maybe do it the best in the very beginning, but you've learned. And somebody's like, I really, really like fireworks. How can I do this for free and have somebody else pay for what I really like to do? All this knowledge is just like, hey, it's going to help that person start off maybe two months ahead or 2 years ahead of being in the right path.
Yeah.
And not make the mistakes, or not even mistakes, but the learning curve. They're going to be further upon that than you may have been when you first started. It was like, hey, this is fun. How do we make it a business?
Yeah, like all the new people that jump onto the company bandwagon, they come in and they ask Pete, they're like, hey, Pete, how am I supposed to do that? And Pete answers every single one of those questions with, well, Cody likes it like this.
Exactly.
Well, Cody likes it like this.
Oh my God. Did he say that?
No. I'm just kidding.
He's like, don't let Cody see that.
Yeah, he just like,
don't let Cody see that.
He just looks at him like, are you sure?
I'm not sure that's right, Bo.
Okay.
I don't know how you guys do things over
sure
in the
that
heart of
rack
it
is
all,
backwards?
but yeah, right.
Usually the front goes in the front. I'm just saying.
But
looking ahead, what do you guys see as the next big trends in the industry?
that's a loaded question.
It is. And take that anywhere you want to take it. I mean, we can approach that from, I guess what I was thinking with the question is, let's talk Pyro for a hot minute, or at least the show experience, since that's kind of the reason for the season. But, like, I don't know, like drones is, it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's a bubble. I don't know if it's going to be here forever. I'm sure it probably will in some regard.
Yeah.
But it's an advancement that's happened in the live show entertainment.
For sure. No, I think drones are here to stay. I don't think they're ever going to be.
Scooch just in on the mic just a little bit.
I was like stretching because we've been here for like 8 hours.
My back hurts. Well,
you guys,
sciatica.
Again, let me tell you that you made me move 4 times, and now I'm on a tall bar stool in my basement.
Oh my God!
Oh.
Do you have a violin on that soundboard?
No, I don't.
Can you play it, please?
What do I have?
The world's smartest violin.
Don't even come back if you don't have them.
That's all. That's as close as I have. It's not even close, but
It'll do the job.
Bo won't know how to live with himself. That was also in the guide.
But anyway, no, I think drones are awesome, and it's something on our roadmap. And it's not going to ever replace Pyro, in my opinion. Now we're starting to see the integration of Pyro and drones, and like that's just like I think that's the tip of the iceberg in terms of integration. And so we're already doing a lot of that, like lighting, video, audio integration with Pyro, and like drones just kind of feel like that next like natural step, right? And like kind of tying back to the beginning of the conversation, like that's really what we set out to do, was bring an experience to the audiences that we have the privilege to produce a show in front of, and give them that experience that makes them leave and be like, wow, like what did I just like watch? And like that's what Kennady and I and the entire team, like that's what we strive to do. It's exactly what we say. It's a passion for people, it's a passion for events, and it's a passion to thrill. Like that is the mission, like that is what we're set out to do.
That is 3D fireworks, baby.
Yeah.
If I had to give the next big trend, I think thinking about this a little bit is doing the traditional untraditionally.
There you go.
By mixing up, obviously the Pyro musical is a big thing right now, but also switching up where you do the fireworks. And traditionally this has been done in large fields and
rooftops
set up.
Yeah.
So we're kind of big into the rooftop thing. We think it creates
that almost
cool
goes to that.
perspective.
I know Jamie said it kind of jokingly with the 3D fireworks experience, but that's really it, right? I mean, you start working in venues and like city centers and places where you can literally view. You're meant to view it from just about anywhere. Obviously, you have where the spectators are gonna be. The stuff that you turn in on your site plans. But let's be real. When you're in a city center, people are watching this thing.
Everywhere,
from like cool vantage points from all around it.
Yeah, and just different applications too. So fireworks traditionally are kind of thought of as being the finale, the big end to the celebration.
Yeah.
And they can be worked in so many other places that
Boom.
are super cool. It just takes a little bit of creativity and a little bit of work.
Yeah.
That still creates just an incredible experience that elevates fireworks in a way that you don't traditionally see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Being the first person through that wall, finding a way to take the traditional shell show and, kind of morph it into something different, that's going to be a value proposition for the company as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, for sure. Kennedy, anything else you learned at your Vegas trip when you weren't gambling? All
the company money away.
Yeah, when you're
under
gambling.
the bus, huh?
Was there fireworks? Was there fireworks every time you hit a jackpot?
while you were at
I
APA?
do take special consideration to play slot machines that have fireworks incorporated.
All the time.
Special consideration.
Snap.
How well
Is
do
it
those
lucky?
Not good. I don't think any of them hit good, actually. But
You're on the wrong ones.
yeah, I just have a bias because I play so many with fireworks, and I'm like, wow, these really are all bad, but that's okay.
It's
No, I
going to
think
be the
we're-
next thing. They're going to make slot machines now.
Yeah. You're going to go into the next casino you go into, 75% of them are going to be fireworks.
Fireworks.
It's-
Gosh,
Mhm.
Kennedy's gonna be
It's
so
a good
broke.
draw.
No, I think we're.
So I guess you brought up Vegas, though. I think another trend is just the type of technology that you use, right? So we're seeing
Uh-huh.
innovation in Cobra and their offerings, and Craig Co is doing new stuff, and so there's kind of the tools are changing a little bit too to make it easier, cooler, more creative, more versatile.
Yeah. They're completely changing
I mean,
how like they're completely changing
Exactly.
one, like your efficiencies on site. They change your efficiencies in design. They make it easier for, Cody, I know you're the Finale 3D guy and the primary show designer at Victory. But having access to all of these different tools and the innovations that you guys do have, how integral has that been to offering the in-show experience that you now have the ability to offer?
Right. Yeah, no, I've said for a long time, Bo, and I think that we've talked about it, is my opinion on kind of the next age of the pyro industry is the companies that figure out how to do the pyro musicals at scale are going to be the companies that are successful. The ones that can figure out how to elevate the experience to the pyro musical level, but do it in a way that's affordable, right, for the business and for everybody involved,
for the
right?
clients.
Like, yeah, it's cost effective, and so like that's the formula that we're cooking up, and like it is just so impactful. We do our fair share of traditional shows, but we've converted clients that need to be on a musical from their traditional shell show, and they come to us and are like, that was the best thing I've ever seen. And we're achieving like those economies of scale, right? Like where we can do this realistically. And I really do believe like that's the next step for the industry as a whole. And I don't know how fast it's going to happen, but I know that the people that are working at it right now are going to be the ones in 15, 20 years that you're going to be looking back on and being like, man, I wish I would have thought that way, instead of continuing with the same old traditional shell show that it has always been for the 30 years prior.
That's a huge factor. People that love fireworks is just a pyro musical. The workload balance with a pyro musical versus a traditional is night and day.
It's huge.
So incorporating ways that you guys are doing, how to, fine tune and make everything just like, hey, this pyro musical didn't take us any more time than it just took you to set up a traditional show. And there was more value and quality in this versus what you just did. And now the time frame to set this show up was the same. That's a huge factor where you'll see people start switching like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Exactly.
And it didn't take any more time?
Exactly.
Great. Tell me more.
Exactly. And like Kennady brings up like Cobra and the innovations with like the quick plug, for example, like such a small,
Oh God. Right.
a small innovation that like literally when we switched over to Cobra, we cut, I think, Kennady, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 people off of every single one of our crews. Like, and they were still safe and they were effective and they were still done on schedule. Like, and they were still, all of our teams were still happy, right? Like, and then you talk about, like iShot and you talk about like some of the innovations in that side. And that's where I feel like the industry is pushing is the folks that can figure out how to do pyro musicals at scale are going to be the ones over the next 10 to 15 years that are going to be the most successful, because it just, as you guys obviously know, Bo, Jamie, and AJ, like the pyro musical just adds a whole other layer of, of emotion, right? And being able to draw into that emotion. People like to be entertained. People like to like feel that. And so for us,
it's
like
the emotion. They love to feel it.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's hard
like
to go. It's hard to go back to
Damn
you know
Bo.
if you as a client, I would think it'd be hard to
go back to a traditional.
Hire somebody. Yes, go back to a traditional show after you've given your municipality, your city, whatever, a pyro musical, because the reception is almost always like out of this world, because a lot of times it's not oversaturated. It's not overdone. I mean, it's in fact, it's quite the opposite. It's almost never done. And you wind up blowing minds. Right. And that leaves a lasting impression.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's what we do. Like, like one story that I like to share, and I think this is a Kennady story, so I may let her pop in, but we do this thing where we have these like story-based shows, and they tell a story. They're not just not just music. It tells a story, and we have this one that we've produced and have shot from time to time that tells the story of D-Day, right? And after the show, at one of the shows we produced, we had people coming up to us like bawling, and it was like, what is happening? But like these people were like happy. They were happy they experienced it, because like we were able to like take that art form and like tell the story of these people and the experiences that they've had. And it's so incredible. And like that's where we're driving, I think.
That emotional connection. I mean, there's so much power in a story to begin with. The minute that you take it and you make a full-fledged experience out of it by giving it in audio, giving it visual, like creating that, like you've essentially just created an attraction at a theme park. I mean, that's kind of what level it exists on, which like a lot of those, like Disney does that all the live long day with the way that they put on shows. And it's so effective.
It's captivating. It's so captivating.
Well, and dude, the D-Day show, like I've watched that video a number of times. That's actually something that we should take and post on the Rhythm page too, so people have it. Sure. So I'll go find that link, and you guys can just share it from the Victory page if you want.
For sure.
And then,
I've had people come up to me and like ask for the audio recording because they wanted to share it with their family, which I'm just like, wow, that is just incredible.
Yeah. Right. And the key piece of that,
so much to you that you want to share it.
Right, because their family had been part of D-Day and part of like storing the beaches, and like they wanted to share like those stories that we were creating, and like we were telling their story, right? And so they come to us and our team, and they're like, "Can we have that audio?" And it's just that's the type of stuff that we want to do.
Yeah, wow, I love that. So, what final message, do pray tell, would you like to send talented professionals who are eager to join a display company that's redefining the industry? Of course, I mean Victory Pyrotechnics.
Move to Kansas.
Move to Kansas. Welcome to Wichita.
Just talk to Cody. He'll recruit you. That's what happens when you talk to Cody. So my big advice is do it scared. It is hard to take that very first step, and we understand that. And sometimes you just don't know where to start. And the starting point is to just reach out. And I'll give you my email right now and you can email me and we will work through it and I will talk you through it. But
even if you just have questions and you're not interested in working with us, like we're an open book.
Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't seem right, it probably isn't right. So keep that in mind when you're looking for that display company. And I should mention that you don't have to do this full time. Almost all of the people on our team are still doing this part-time, seasonally, gig style work on and off, making a little extra money. And we're okay with that. We want an involved team. So that's important to us, is that you do want to work semi-regularly, but because we want our team to be engaged. But just, I think the word professional display company steers people away because they kind of have that bias towards themselves and that, they don't feel like a professional. And so they self-eliminate. And there are companies out there like us that are perfectly okay with that. We like doing it from the ground up. We did it from the ground up. And then for those experienced operators, like there's a place for you too. We want to learn from you. We like to learn from you. And we think that there are plenty of ways to also just get involved in the business and, outside of just being an operator. Now, if that's all you want to do, totally fine with that too. But if you want to learn more about designing shows, we can work through that. If you want to help pack trucks, hey, we have a job for you. If you want to be more involved in different aspects, again, like we're a small business and we accept the help and truly are training people up to take potentially full-time positions someday, right? And kind of creating that for yourself. Yeah.
And your guys is like, this kind of goes back to some of the bullet points that we had earlier, but the apprehension, I completely understand from newbie standpoint. It's fireworks, right? You're dealing with stuff that is largely regulated, like Jamie said at one point. But you guys lay this stuff out to a standard and just an onboarding process that there's no reason to get nervous about it. There's no reason not to take the step, because if you're working with other display companies or, you're going to work under someone as a protege, then, who knows? You're kind of at the mercy of whether or not you have a good teacher. But, when the company itself is set these standards and has kind of defined their process, and their process is, we want to make sure that you understand everything and that you can ask any question that you want to ask, and don't ever be shy, because we'll help you. Like that's what makes you guys so valuable in this space. Like Cody said, you guys are open books and you want to train and you want to create cool standards.
Yeah. We want the industry to level up with us, right? So we're kind of, hopefully we think anyway, are setting like a new standard, and we want everyone to move up, because that's again what's going to push us to be better. Yeah, right. Even more so. And
we want the industry to be successful. Without the industry, we have nothing, right? And so it isn't all about us. And whether you want to come work with us or you work with another display company, we want you to be successful in the pyro industry at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yep.
And so,
speaking of the industry, hold on. Today, I'll let you talk here.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, go ahead and finish your thought.
Oh, no, you're good. I just was talking over the soundbite, I guess. But
basically what he was saying is there's no AJ questions. They're all good questions.
It was kind of like...
right. You'll never get persecuted here.
It was kind of like Kennedy. She's going to kill me for saying this, but when the intro started rolling, she was like, "What is that sound?" And she messaged me. She was like,
Cody, do you hear that?
I'm dumb. But anyway, just to kind of wrap up that point too, we just really want to invest in people and people that are, interested in joining the industry or long tenured folks in the industry too. We'll be at CobraCon. We're bringing a team of 5 folks from our team that showed interest and were paying their way to go and develop relationships and new knowledge. And so if you see any of us, please just like reach out, stop and say hi and talk to anybody on our team. Like, we're all at different phases. Like we're bringing a very good group of team members that kind of have all different experience levels, and each of them applied to do this professional development trip that Victory is funding. And it's just like, that's the type of stuff that we want to do, is like, we want to help develop you, because at the end of the day, like anything that we're investing in, like we want it to be mutually beneficial. Like whether that's a relationship with a vendor, a relationship with a client, a relationship with a crew member, like we want there to be a win-win in everything that we do.
Fostering the growth. We're going to have a RPP Victory night. And then when your team gets back to Wichita, you're going to have to wash the RPP off of them.
It's all
I don't
good.
even know what that means. Do I want to know?
Nobody knows what that means. It's provocative.
It's provocative.
It's provocative. I was talking in terms of bad habits, but I guess it's like you have my agenda or something, because that's what I was going to hit with Pyro News. CobraCon's coming up here in a little over a month, April 10th through the 12th in Muncie, Indiana. Don't miss the premier designer and shooter educational event of the year. Tickets are still on sale over at the website, cobra-con.com. And I love that you guys invest in your people.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there. I didn't even read it, to be honest.
Bro, I didn't even read your agenda. I just knew where you were going with it.
What does it even mean?
What does that even mean?
Yeah. Kennedy, Cody, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. How can people get a hold of you?
Crickets. They can't. That's the answer.
They can't. We don't have a phone number. We got a general inbox on the website.
Sorry, not sorry.
We're just a message. We'll get back to you if we feel like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywhere. So probably the easiest to remember is victorypyro.com. There's a reach out contact form there. So that's definitely a way to get a hold of us. Facebook, also Victory Pyro. Or you can email me or Cody directly. First name, last name at victorypyro.com. And that's you probably want spelling of my name because it's a little weird.
I can put them on I can put that stuff on the rhythm page.
I want to fix your name every time I look at it.
Do you want me to spell it out? Okay, that one's capitalized and that one is also capitalized.
You don't want to hear how I say this to people in public.
No, you wrote that down wrong. Are you even listening to what I said? Yeah.
No, I just use my mom's name for everything. So when they call out my start, it's Jennifer. I'm like, oh, that's me.
And then everybody's standing there looking around like, well, we're not ready to go be seated yet.
Exactly.
He rolls his eyes because he's like, well, she did it again.
Oh my goodness. One time it was so bad. So I used my mom's like Hy-Vee Perks Plus rewards card at Hy-Vee, which is like a grocery store in the Midwest. If you don't know what that is.
We have
that's good.
You're not that
I love
far.
Hy-Vee. I'm a Hy-Vee loyalist. And anyway, I used her phone number for so long that the gas station clerk thought my name was Jennifer and I never corrected him. And so every time I would walk in, which was like every day on my way to high school, he'd say, hey, Jennifer. And then one time I had to walk in with my mom and I'm in the parking lot, like remembering this. I was like, hey, Mom, by the way, when we walk in, they're going to say, hey, Jennifer.
That's good that you told her like up front. I would have completely. Yeah, I would have completely forgotten.
Now, from now on, whenever I see her, hi, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Hi, Jennifer.
I know her.
You have an alias.
Yes.
I've just assumed my mother's identity. It's okay.
She really has in all aspects. And it's something else. But yeah, please reach out to
talk
us.
to someone on the phone 20 hours a week.
No crap. Oh my gosh.
That's a really good idea. I should start using Dad's email address on all of the spam stuff that I get.
For identity thief.
Exactly.
Now your dad's going to come over and beat the hell out of you.
And for identity theft, please contact Jennifer.
I'd be doing myself in the club a disservice too, because half the time he can't find the emails that were sent.
Oh my
and
gosh.
it's like, hey, you got an email and it was in your inbox. He's like, well, when? What, like 3 weeks ago?
So funny. Oh man, well, I appreciate you guys, and I just want to say thanks for giving the industry a platform to just expand the knowledge, and share different people's perspectives and stories. Because at the end of the day, like I think we're all in this together. Whether you're a professional shooting professional shows or a backyard hobbyist, like the industry, like at the end of the day needs to work together, and you guys give that platform to make that happen. So I think Kennady and I like really appreciate all that you guys are doing when it comes to rhythm.
Thanks,
and just you, Bo, and I guess I don't know how I was going to say that. Bo, AJ, and Jamie, just like thanks for all you guys do.
Yes,
Thank you, brother.
thank you for inviting
man.
us and letting us brag on our team for the last hour or so, and letting us brag on them and just all of the cool things that we've been able to build together. We really appreciate just that platform.
It's been so cool watching you guys grow over the years. I know I kind of slobber over you guys quite a bit, and it is.
It's cool to see someone new and to see like what Kennady said, his urge, his drive. Yeah. And he's young and take something at such a young age that's not really done at someone at his age and just took off with it. And to see you still in it and growing and wanting to constantly keep growing. That is inspirational to a lot of people that are going to listen to this too. Anyone that's young and thinking, I can't do it now.
Right.
When's the best time to do it? Now.
Yeah.
I mean,
now.
Amen.
Amen.
You guys young.
Yeah.
You guys are a testament of that. I mean, you started
can
off.
be done.
You started off as lights are cool. Lights to music are cool.
Yep.
Explosives to music are cool. Wait a minute.
No,
I just met a
cooler.
friend that, hey, maybe we can make a career out of this and bring other people in to help us.
Yeah.
You guys are a testament that, you know what? Hey, let's put our fears aside and let's take our passion and be like, and make a life out of it and spread that love and joy and cheer to others. And you're both at a young age. It's huge. It's awesome.
I just think that's like the coolest part of, right. It's not perfect. And I think it's just like the coolest part of our jobs. Like all of us here on the podcast and just in the industry is like, we just have the opportunity to do something cool for so many people.
Seize the day. I like
That's
that.
right.
Seize the day. God, now he's just
hold on.
now he's just reading money in his pocket.
Seize the night.
Seize the day.
Seize the day.
Carpe
All
diem.
hail Princess Tape.
I was about to say that.
Do you guys use duct tape, Scotch tape, or Princess tape for your shooters? Which one is it?
Oh, man.
Don't cheap out. You went Milwaukee.
Stop talking about it.
Stop talking about it.
Stop talking about it.
Talking about it.